Hello, everyone. The only reason why I had to come on live right now, and I apologize for this because I posted 7:45. The 7:45 for Facebook and for yeah, it had to go live now, or else the people on Facebook would never have saw me. Well, anyways, my name my name is Orjanet Cooper Bryant. I am an author. I am a speaker. I am a mother. I am a nurse practitioner. I am the CEO of Vita Lift Infusion, and I am a hospitalist. And today I am super excited today because I am going to bring a very special guest today who is one of the co-authors of one of the books that I actually co-authored in, and it's called Radical Woman. Before we get started, we're just you're not live yet, Tarsha. We kind of like behind the scenes right now. I apologize everyone because we're behind the scenes. But like I said, I had to go on live at 7:54, and if I didn't go on live at 7:54, it would have blocked all our live viewers. So my apologies. I will let you in just 2 seconds, Tarsha. I want to do an introduction and we got about 5 minutes to go. So guys, please just enjoy the music for just a second. Give us a second. And we're gonna get the show started. I am super excited. Yay! Yes. Very excited. It is Black History Month, and I am so excited today about Black History Month. And the reason why I'm so excited about Black History Month is because I want to give a special honor and a shout out to someone very special to me. Now, I'm going to post her, pull up her face, and give you guys just a moment just to meditate, reflect, and remember who I'm talking about. As a matter of fact, a lot of you all already know this lady, right? A lot of you in the Daytona Beach area, you're very familiar with Dr. Gwendolyn Gosby Grant, the the Energizer. Yes. That's my girl right here. I'm going to tell you who she is. She's very special to me. She actually was commuted from um, Florida to New Jersey. And she was very special to me because she became my mentor and someone very special to me in my life. She actually named Whitney Houston. She was her godmother. She was an influencer. She was a very encouraging woman. She was known as a columnist for the Essence magazine, and she was known as the multimedia psychologist, the Energizer. Dr. Grant appeared on The Oprah Show, The News Hour, PBS, Black Entertainment, Good Morning America, Sally Jesse Raphael, a lot of the shows, the family, and on one show I remember on Maury Pulver's show, I believe, she was on one show and there was this feuding siblings that were on the show, and I actually went and took a look at that show to see what was going on, and they were just so upset with each other. Now, when people go through traumatic experiences in life, lose a loved one, they go feuding, and these two sisters were at odds with each other. But Dr. Gwendolyn Grant, she was able to calm and diffuse the situation and get them to go back and think about who they were to each other and why were they feuding and what was the end result going to be. Her goal was to support and encourage healthier new relationships and create new bonds between us all. I love her so much. I had the opportunity to just really be embraced with her presence in her final years. And she was an awesome woman of God. She wanted everyone to know that she was a change maker. And she used to say, OJAy, you are a girl with much intentions. And she told me to go read the books. Go read the books. And I remember at that time when I met her, I did go out and read a lot of books. And I read The Power of Intentions. I read good leadership motivation books just to help me understand what she was trying to say about me. And she kept saying, you're before your time. This is not your time, because people your age don't think the way that you do. And I was just so stimulated, encouraged by Dr. Grant. And she just, oh, she made such an impact in our community. Now I'm looking at the time, and I'm actually going to go ahead and introduce my very, 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 very special guest today. And I'm gonna put you live in just 2 seconds, Tarsha. Okay. Now, my special guest today, praise God, won an honor. I have to say that because, you know, when women of God come in your path and their intentions are to share the light in such a area of darkness, I have to give honor to them. I really do. She was born in Brooklyn, New York. She's a loving mother of a son. She's a born again Christian, and she's also a certified legal support professional. She helps out many lawyers with intellectual properties. Am I correct? Yeah, properties. And she is a part-time kingdom entrepreneur. She also is, and I had no idea until I just recently saw that she's published a couple. She should be on her second book right now, I think. Second book, yeah, okay, all right. And she's wow, small organic beauty care products called a company called Pretty Organics LLC. I am going to bring my special guest in on this, and we're gonna have a good time today. And you guys are, I just want y'all to just shout out for Tarsha Howard. Give it a second. There we go. There we go.
Hello. How are you, OJAy? I'm so happy to meet. Oh my God, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
You are what I call a woman of God. You are amazing. But I mean, I just met you through the publication. What was this, Mother's Day?
Yes.
Wow. And you just been on the go ever since?
I've been on the go, and I will briefly talk about that for those of you who are in what I call your incubation season. That's the season where you are being molded and cultivated by God in the secret place. And so when the Lord releases you out into the public to be a servant and to be his vessel in the earth realm as his representation, people don't realize that there was a process before you were actually presented to his kingdom.
Okay.
And so I've been in a process literally for 20 years. And so
20 years. Okay.
Yes.
Wow. You don't even look like you have that much experience right there, but you know,
yes.
I think it, you know, it's and I want to disclose something with you all. I want to say that, first of all, let me see if I can turn the music down a little. All right, there we go. Pure sound right there. My disclosure, and I did this last time, I am not getting paid to do this, people. Okay, I don't have sponsors. I don't have no kind of funding here. This is just from the heart. Okay, and my objective here is not about me. It's about us. It's about how we can inspire and encourage each other. Now, we have been through a season where COVID has made it literally almost sometimes impossible to get out and make your voice be known.
Yes.
Creators are using all kind of social media to get their voices out there. They're creating content, but how do they get the word out there? We need support, guys. So because I'm saying that, I'm asking one little small, tiny little favor. Please subscribe to The Natural Nubian. Why? I'm not getting paid for this. Okay. And I'm saying this because I need your support. Honestly, I really need your support because people like Tarsha who have a message, I want to make sure that message is it comes across. I want you to hear what this message is. I want you to share this message. I want you to invite friends, okay? And I want you to subscribe, and I want you to follow her as well. It's very important to us because, you know, I'm sure she had a busy day at work today, didn't you?
No, I did not.
Well, I did. I did.
I'm keeping it real. Today I had a very peaceful day. God worked it out so that I could just lay up and rest and prepare for this interview. So everything aligned perfectly just for me today.
Wow. I don't even know what that's like. You know, my girlfriends tell me, you know, OJAy, you need to take a day off. If you don't take a day off, you know, let's go and have something to eat or let's do. I'm like, but I ain't got time. But they're like, you know, life is going by you and you ain't getting no younger. So you need to do something and relax.
Mm-hmm.
So God spoke to my heart during my 30-day fast. You know, we usually do that at the beginning. I said, Lord, what is it that you want me to do? He said, well, and he said, you need to take a break. You need to take a day off.
Yes.
And the word came very clear. He says, you have to take one day off just to meditate and to regroup and to just allow me to saturate you. And I was like, okay, God, I'm going to take that day off.
And that's self-care. That's another part of my message that I've been spreading because I live in New York, and I will tell you, OJAy, before this pandemic, first of all, my son today, I had him to give me like a little speech. How can you describe your mom? And the main thing he said to me is that my mom is always busy, right? And so since he's been in existence on the earth, I have always been busy. I work, and as you see, I run online businesses. I actually have a 9-to-5 full career, but I always have what they call a side hustle. So I have my online businesses, and the Lord spoke to me right in 2020 and was like, this is going to be your season of advanced self-care, because even when I would work every day, the subway is a zoo. It's like a zoo from the time you leave your house until you get to Manhattan, and you're like literally fighting to get to the office. And God was like, okay, you have now a season for you to just relax, get closer to me. But in 2021, he even accelerated it and was like, okay, now you're working from home, but you're like even busier, because I got involved in writing. I started being an author. I started, walking in my God-given purpose and assignment. And so now I have another layer of responsibility. And so God has me now where he forces me to sit with him. And that was my day today. I took today to just relax. I'm on a schedule now where I do nothing on Fridays, but make sure all projects are complete. I, like you just said, I soak in his presence. I clear my thoughts and get ready for the next week, because tomorrow I'm going to be, busy. So, I have to enjoy it today.
Yeah. Well, you just said something that you became a published author this year, right?
Yes.
Girl, tell the truth.
2021.
Okay, 2021. But tell the truth. Is it easy or what? Is it a job? Is it a full-time job? What is it? Tell these people the truth.
Being an author,
the book is not.
Let me just tell you, being an author, it's an actual career within itself, which I didn't know that when I answered the call, because it's also a calling. Because when you become an author, you are you are actually exposing yourself through your story to help bring transformation, right? And to also your transformational story, it now can help other people to have a roadmap to help bring them out. But why it becomes also a full-time business is because you begin to become the expert in that industry, and now you begin to accept speaking engagements. You turn your book to a course, and then it just starts exploding from there. So yes, I agree with you.
Yes, it's a full-time commitment. I mean, once you create the content, you got to go out and educate the community about the content. I remember when I first got published back in 2015. Oh my God, I had a very tight schedule, and it just so happened that God made it happen that I was able to stay home because I was injured. I was in a car accident, and I was in another car accident. So I was healing. I was in a healing process. But through that time, I was able to sit down and really map out what that schedule looked like. And I was on the circuit. I was on the speaking circuit. I had goals. I created a budget plan. I was like, okay, if this one pay me this, and you accept projects based upon what you financially need, and it was amazing. Let me tell you, every weekend I was busy. I was like, I don't know if I like staying in my suitcase. I really, it got to a point where I was like, it's a lot of work here. I didn't think, I had no idea. Nobody could have
Yes.
told me that.
Yes. And the grace that God has given now, I'm accepting my speaking engagements virtually. And I said, Lord, I don't know what I would do if I had to travel across the country to spread the message. So this is a great opportunity as well to build platforms, build content. And so that when everything, and I don't say back to normal, whenever we transition into the new way of life, we'll already have our content and our audience. So I think this is a good opportunity for people to take advantage of the virtual space because no one else had. You don't have this is an advantage because this is where everyone is right now. So before, where we would try to finagle our way around to build an audience, I think now, because we have no choice but to have content, we can just pump it out now, and then by the time the society gets to wherever it's going to be, we'll already be established with a credible audience.
True. And let me show you something. This just a demo. I like to be funny.
I don't even want to show you what.
Girl.
You don't want to know. I have a gas mask. Okay.
The purple one.
I have the brown one, and when I brought it in 2020 when the pandemic first started, and my mother was like, "Oh, I don't know about that." Now it's hard to get them on Amazon because they keep getting sold out. So I said, "Okay, 1 mask, 2 masks. I got a trick. Let me just put this whole mask on my face when I go outside now."
But think about it. Think you out speaking in public. You got this thing over your face. They can't see your smile, can't see
anything.
What you look like. And
that's
then
it.
People tell me, "Oh, I didn't know you look like that." Really?
Yeah. Because they don't know. And then, they walk right by you and they're like, "Oh, that's you. Yes, it's me." So yeah, it's comical. We can laugh now, but I wasn't laughing last year.
No,
I'll tell you that.
It wasn't funny. You're right. A lot of things happen to us. And with that being said, how do we even begin this conversation about narcissism? I mean, narcissistic abuse, narcissistic behavior traits. I mean, how do we begin this conversation? This is serious stuff right here. And I'm like, boy.
You know how we begin it? I was having a conversation with my mother yesterday. Okay. And we were talking about various women throughout my lifetime and her lifetime, right? And I was born in the 70s. So in the 60s, 70s, and even further back in the generations, right? Women, and I'm going to talk about our community. So our conversation was that in the African-American community, mental health is not talked about. It's not a spoken thing, especially when you're in the house and you feel like you have all this pressure, girl, you better go somewhere and sit down. It's all in your head, and it gets dismissed. But then as you get older and you get into these relationships, I was talking to my mom, and we were like analyzing all of the women who were with men that abused them. And you know what I said to her? I said, "You know what, Mom? A lot of these women were with narcissists, but we didn't have a name to it in our community. We just would say, he's abusive, or you need to leave him. He keeps beating you up, or he's a stalker." And I remember my grandmother had a friend, and this made the news all over New York. And her friend's daughter, we were very close family. We were close friends of the family. And her daughter was dating a guy. She had a child by the guy. and she told him, she didn't want to be with him anymore. Well, he didn't take it. He was stalking her, and he didn't make her life easy because of the rejection. He wasn't going anywhere in his life, and she was very successful. To make a long story short, he back then in Brooklyn, I don't know if you've seen, back in the 80s, we would sleep with our window open and there would be a fire escape. He climbed up the fire escape, lit her on fire in the bed with a flammable substance, and at that point, mothers slept in the bed with their babies. He burned her and the baby up in the bed. Okay.
Oh my God.
And that's just one story. So my mother and I was going through stories of women who we remember went through very violent relationships, but a lot of it didn't make the news because it was also a no snitching policy in the hood. And so your man will beat you up or he'll stab you up. Nobody's telling on him. And meanwhile, he's outside drinking beer. Right? This is stories in Brooklyn. This is the things that we saw growing up, right? And so how I want to open this conversation is now in 2022, there are names to these problems. There's psychological disorders that we now have access to the information to understand and to realize that people really have psychiatric disorders. And when we get involved with people, we have to realize that not everybody is playing with a full deck. Now, I'm not saying that to be funny. I'm only saying that because I myself, when I was 18 years old, and I wrote about it here in my portion of The Radical Woman.
Yes.
When I met a young man who was I was 18, he was 25. So, it started out okay, but he started to have a lot of possessive traits, verbally abusive traits. And that was my first encounter with what I didn't find out until later on, that he was a narcissist. Now, I had the sense as a young 18-year-old, and I tell a lot of women, when you have daughters, please make sure you instill their self-esteem. Make sure that when you're raising girls, I would say boys and girls, but I'm going to stick on girls today. Okay. Because we have a lot of images out here in social media. We have a lot of young women who want to look like these women that they see with enhanced body parts and plastic surgery. And then they're too hard on themselves, and they're trying to put themselves in an area that they don't belong and where God hasn't called them to be. We as parents have to teach our daughters that they're beautifully and fearfully and wonderfully made. So my mother instilled that in me. So that is what saved me from this man. It helped me to actually walk away. And this relationship only lasted for 8 months. Okay. But I'm telling you, even now, the flashbacks can affect you. So narcissism is very prevalent. And I'm going to niche it down to our community. In the African-American community, we have not put a name to some of these things. We're not trying to be psychiatrists, but we need to not be ignorant of Satan's devices. And what are the devices? Not realizing that psychiatric disorders do exist in our community. Some of these people have not sought therapeutic help, and so they're living amongst us without medication and without treatment, getting involved with women and causing women to be damaged because they themselves have not went out to resolve their psychiatric disorders.
But wait. There isn't treatment for this narcissistic person, because when they put on this great show, we talk about, you should esteem one another, or you should have confidence. And, if you put on this air, everything's good, you trick the psychologists. They don't know what you're talking about. Like, what are you talking about? This person has no problems. And they're so good at what they do.
They are.
They will trick them and make them think that they are a victim. I'm like, okay,
that's it.
Now you're a victim, huh? And you're looking like, okay, so what makes you a victim? See, I'm just learning to put a word to it. Like you said, I was born in the 70s as well. I was told, I told this lady, like, I was in Atlanta and I was living there, and I said, I'm so depressed. And she said, Black people don't get depressed. I was like, really? She said, oh no, Black people. And I said,
Yeah.
oh, and you know what? I absorbed what she said. I said, she's right. I am not depressed. Ain't no way I cannot be depressed, because that lady told me ain't no way Black people don't get depressed. She said, what we done been through in life, there's no way. But let's go back to this narcissistic person, because it could be a woman, it could be a man, it could be anybody.
There's no gender, right? Mm-hmm. And so my portion of the book has a different spin on it, right?
Right.
Because what happened was, I'm going to deal with the spiritual side of things right now. When you attract somebody, right, they can become the foundation of you attracting the same type throughout your life, right? So
I was gonna ask you about that. I was like, once you do it once, you're gonna keep doing it over and over again, and you ain't gonna stop.
And that's what happened, because I attracted him. Let's get the timeline. At 18, right? It says here, at 18 years old, I attracted this man, right? I was 18 and he was 24. I started to sense something was off about him, but I proceeded to give him my phone number. See, that was called a red flag, right?
Oh, yeah.
So when this relationship ended, right, and I abruptly ended it because it was getting out of control, after him, I continued to attract the same type of man, but in a different body. In our realm, in Christianity, we call it familiar spirits, right? And I'm like, it's a different body, different complexion, different everything, fat, tall, skinny, the same spirit. And I'm like, and then it became like, I kind of started noticing the MO. And let me tell you, I can tell you what the MO is right now. They start out normal, you know, because they call it the romantic phase. They give you flowers or woo you or get in your head and tell you everything you want to hear. That's the romantic phase.
Okay.
Then after the romantic phase and they rope you in, then it's the criticizing phase. You're gaining weight, you're where you're going, who you with, all that other foolishness. And then it's just a spiral of events until, you know, the Lord has spoke to me. He told me that the purpose behind narcissism is to really psychologically bring you to the point of having a nervous breakdown. Because it's a mental abuse. It's not physical. It's not an act where no one can see the scars. So the only way to damage you is to break you down. These people have an MO. They have a particular type of person that they're attracted to, right? And so the person.
Oh, wait. Did you just say they're attracted to a particular type person?
Yes. And so they're not attracted to anyone who. I would just tell you like this. I was always a very happy and go lucky person. I'm a go-getter. What if it can't be done? There's a will, there's a way. I have a lot of energy. I vibrate at a very high level. Their main goal is to take you from that realm and bring you down to the realm of you can't get out of bed every day. You're in your room with all the windows closed and you're dark and depressed. They love that. They thrive on that. Because it's a darkness. They thrive on darkness. And so that's a sense of control. If you were already a depressed person, that's no fun. You see how sick it is? You see how sick that is? So I kept attracting that type until once I had my son, the Lord had to really begin to deal with me spiritually. So in my portion of the book, I talk about how the Lord led me through the steps to spiritually break the attraction to these type of men.
Yeah, I read that. You had to be spirit-filled and led. But you kind of covered a lot of things, because I was like, how does this affect the Christian community? Because you got this Proverb 31 woman, and she's supposed to be submissive, and she ain't supposed to say nothing, even when she's uncomfortable. And I'm like, okay, you got this man, you're looking at him, he's very grandiose and very arrogant, and he just comes across like he got all his stuff together, and she in the background looking like, who am
But let me
I?
just
What
tell
am
you
I supposed to
something.
do?
Let me just tell you something right now, and I don't know who's going to get mad, and of course I don't care,
Yes,
because I'm
yes.
also a prophet, in the realm of the kingdom of God. So
Mhm.
prophetically speaking, what the kingdom of God has taught the children of God is that for some reason they think the Proverbs 31 woman was this submissive, docile woman. But what they
Okay.
don't realize is the Proverbs 31 woman was an enterprising woman. She was a businesswoman. She was
Yep.
not a woman that was just
Okay.
sitting around waiting for her husband to come home and bring the
Okay.
bacon. She sat in the inner courts around the kings, the queens, and all of those politicians who had influence. And the Proverbs 31 woman herself was a
Mhm.
woman of influence, because you can't get to that level to hang out with those people unless you
Mhm.
yourself are on that level. So she was
Right.
also an entrepreneur. She
Mhm.
wore many hats, and she knew her role. See, her role with her husband, yes, she did submit, but she also was the woman that was his helpmate to understand that he had a role in the outer courts of the kingdom. He was a
Mhm.
decision maker, and she
Mhm.
understood that in order to continue to make him stay in his realm and in his dominion, she also had to match his vibration. You can't be a lazy woman
Mm.
married to the president of the United States. A
True.
hint for Barack and Michelle Obama. Michelle
True.
Obama is a Proverbs 31 woman. She's a
Right.
kingmaker. She understood that he was the king, and she understood her role, but at the same time, she didn't diminish herself as an attorney, and she didn't diminish herself as one who also had influence. You see?
Mhm.
So this
Mhm.
is why the church has, in my opinion, and once again, to all those people with these religious spirits, this is my opinion. The church has washed down the Proverbs 31 woman as a woman who was just docile, sitting around doing nothing. And in this generation, the Proverbs 31 woman, or OJ, are the nurse practitioners. And
Mhm.
the Proverbs 31 woman are the female doctors now. We are
Yes.
out here doing enterprising activities.
Yes.
And so,
Yes.
what God is calling us now to do is to recognize that our position is the same way as He scripturally wrote it. But at the same time, if we continue to open ourselves up to attract these narcissists, we actually fall out of alignment out of our
The plan of
31
God.
Proverbs 31 woman anointing, honestly.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh, you are so on point. And I had to learn that. I had to learn that I was out of the plan of God, because I was submitting myself to something that wasn't of Him, and His will was not being fully manifested through me, because I was being submissive and subjective to something of darkness. It is Valentine's pretty soon, the 14th. And I know you said that's just a commercial holiday, but anyways, paganistic. Um, I do want to say, when you think about love and agape love, and we get it all lost in translation, there are so many different types of love. And this book here, Stephen Carter and Julia Solix, talks about men who can't men who can't love. My mother gave this book is so old, it's ridiculous. My mother gave me this book a long time ago, and she's like, you need to be able to identify what men who can't love, and you said it. They'll wine and dine you down, give you these roses in the beginning, and then the next thing you know, oh, you getting too heavy. Oh, you don't look like you used to. They don't accept you for who you are or what God has designed you to be.
Yes.
You can
Yes.
go and you can clean, you can work, you can do all these things, but never meet up to their expectations. So they go out and they tip. Sometimes they tip out and they go do all kind of things, and we accept it. Like, well, well, I gotta have a man. That's the way it was.
Yeah.
We gotta have a man. But
Yes.
truthfully and honestly, we have to learn the technique, and the technique is called gaslighting.
Oh, let's talk about that.
Yes.
Goodness gracious. Yes.
Yeah.
Good one. That's a good one. That gaslighting. See, the gaslighting is really what causes the psychological damage.
Okay.
Because that's what will have you. Well, I'll talk about myself because I'm here. That's what had me at work zoning out, wondering, like, what is going on here? Is it just me? Because something will transpire, and when you're being gaslighted, you are feeling like it's something that is not really existing, but it's happening.
Yeah.
But you're dealing with somebody that's not writing you back, telling everybody in the family that don't listen to her. She's, that's not the way it's going. She just wants to go out, and because I won't agree with it, she's coming up with all these stories.
Right.
And so gaslighting is what really, to me, in my opinion, causes really deep psychological trauma.
Mm-hmm. It really does. There was a movie that came out, I think it was in the 60s or 50s or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had to go back and look at it. I was like, oh, so that's what that is. And this lady had all this money, all this assets and everything. And he was depriving her, keeping her. She didn't even know. She had no idea. He locked her in a room. She did not know that she owned all of this. And he was just, oh, I'm just gonna keep doing this to her. Oh, baby, and then the next minute he was degrading her, and that's the thing. You got to be careful. The message is kind of consistent. I'm gonna up you a little bit, then I'm gonna down you again.
You're gonna bring it down. That's it.
Yeah, let me pull you up just a little bit, just to bring you down. And the psychological games that people play, I want us to really think about who we are in God. And where we're going and how we're treating each other. It's so important to me to treat people the way we want to be treated.
Yeah, the golden rule. That's the golden rule.
Yeah. And I was asking a friend, it's like, why I always keep attracting these narcissistic people? Talking about, are you? I was like, excuse me? Really? And then I thought about it and I was like, but you know what? It might be some truth to that. Because if I'm sitting there going to the same thing, why am I punishing myself? Why am I doing this to myself? And I keep asking myself, I'm like, I'm not really a grandiose thinker, but I have to do these grandiose things to make myself feel better about who I am, because this person that made me feel like I was nothing.
That's
right?
it.
So
That's
I'm
the goal.
overcompensating in some way because I want to feel some kind of energy that I didn't feel in that relationship, some kind of validation I need outside. I need people to validate who I am because he done put me down to this level and I'm trying to pick myself up, and people don't understand the mental bondage that I'm going through in my mind. It's horrible.
Yeah, and it's
people, almost, we gotta wake up.
And this is why our community, my sister, her and I talk about this. She just found out about narcissism in 2021 because she met someone, and I had to keep it real with her, and she did research on it, and she was like, she said, if I ever meet anyone like that again, I am running to the hills, because that's the type of effect that those type of people place on you. But when the Lord processed me through my healing, the number one thing that he told me is that I must walk in my God-given identity. And since we're talking about the Proverbs 31 woman as an example, when we start walking in our identity, we will in our God-given identity, we will no longer attract those type of people. And let me just get this straight here. I was also attracting female friends that had narcissistic traits.
Right. There you go. It's not limited to men. There you go.
And I had to literally say goodbye, because you're not going to diminish my light because you're suffering with certain unresolved issues. Because see, another thing, their main goal is to bring you from a higher realm, a higher, I think I'm a thought leader, so my mind is always being filled with knowledge, and I'm always seeking out ways to further educate myself, and I'm always in the word. I fast, I pray. And so with all of that together, I am love. So since we're talking about love, I'm going to bring that into this. I repel them now because love is my vibration. Love, I am love. I am God's love manifested in the earth. I didn't understand that before. So before, I was not repelling them because I was coming from a broken identity. That broken identity was attracting the toxic, narcissistic, broken man.
Okay.
So now they're not attracted to me anymore because I have too much love. I'm not a receptor for you. You know, when you're a fly catcher is sticky, right? And so back in the day, especially down south, my grandmother used to always put up these fly catchers. It was nasty. You could see all the flies on the front.
Yeah.
That's what you are when you don't do the work and to cleanse yourself and become a receptacle of love only. You attract narcissists like a fly trap.
Oh my.
Friends and love partners. And so no matter how much you would have, I don't know, for me, it was a long process, but depending on your awareness of it, God will quickly do the work, and you will see, even you will start attracting loving friends, loving people. I'm here with OJAy talking about love, and that's a product of me going through healing to even be a part of a book project.
Right. That's right. You're right. You're right. And you know what? And we're going to probably, we're going over the time. I usually make it for 30, but this topic was so on point. And I think in fact, I think we got to do it again because there's so much
to do a part
and
two.
Learning about psychological issues within our community is something we need to start talking about. I'm sorry. We've got to start.
Yeah. OJAy, honestly, this may be a series for you.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. You are in the medical field, and for us to get together and do this book, it was to help other people, right? And so because this is a topic that is not really, it's like a hidden secret, we are called to help other women. Someone inboxed me, and a young woman inboxed me thanking us for writing this book.
Yeah, I've had some of that too. I've heard people say, I go to bed at night, I'm reading the book. I read this book all the time because there's so many stories about things that, don't limit it to one person, one chapter. I mean, we've all gone through some kind of poverty. We've all gone through some kind of narcissistic, abusive relationship. We've all gone through some kind of something we identify in this book. And I'm like, oh my. Oh my.
Yes.
Being in a foreign land where your parents don't even speak the language. And then you're learning how to do this. And then you overcompensate because you're feeling some kind of insecurity within yourself because now all the tension is drawn on. I'm that kid. I was the first grandchild. I was the first one born.
Yes.
Right. Not only was I the first one born, I was embraced by my grandmothers. And I was, and when my brother came, it was like, oh, he's so cute and this and that. I was like, well, what about me? So you overcompensate for those things. And those are conversations that need to be talked about. We need to learn, what are we doing to each other? Why are we doing it? And what is the future going to look like? I'm going to break it down. Narcissistic people, they're very insecure. They're arrogant at the same time. They're always searching for power, and they have a sense of entitlement. I'm entitled. Okay. You're not entitled.
That's
Let's put
it.
it down. Let's speak in God's word. You're not entitled. Okay? So I want to leave with this thought. Take control of your circumstances, or your circumstance will take control over you. Don't allow your past to predict your future. Good manners will take you where money won't. That is from Dr. Gwendolyn Goldsby Grant. I don't know if you were able to hear me talk about her in the beginning. Amazing. She passed away a few years ago, but she was my mentor, and she named Whitney Houston. She was her godmother. She was very influential, and she was a sexologist. I didn't even tell most people she's a sexologist. The best kind of loving was her book, and I think I got it here somewhere. Where I put it? Well, anyway, she was an amazing, phenomenal woman. Okay. And she had a very good spiritual walk, and she walked the walk, talked the talk, and she taught others to embrace their femininity. Okay. So don't, ladies, be proud of who you are. If you're going to be single, if you're going to be with somebody, I don't care what it is, what you do, know that God is in control and God is love. That's it. He is love. Once you realize the love of God, man, irrelevant. Not saying that it doesn't matter. It doesn't put that much weight on your what you do, who you are, and where you're going in life. So I hope you. I'm gonna leave you with. Do you have any finals that you want to say as we close out?
Well, all I want to say is to everyone, love yourself. We are in the month of love, but love is 365 days a year, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Develop your love for yourself. And most importantly, realize that your God-given identity is where you are, where you belong, and what you have a purpose. Your purpose in life is bigger, and you must begin to cultivate your identity in God. And once you begin to do that, you will begin to walk out the plan and purpose in your life, so that you will no longer be someone who is a receptacle to attract anyone in your life to abuse you. Thank you, OJAy.
Thank you so much, Tarsha. And I didn't even get into marketplace.
Guess what? If I'm coming back again, we will talk about that, because I will let the women know that the best way for you to cultivate your identity is by walking in your God-given purpose. And I have a business called the Marketplace Chamber LLC, where I am teaching people how to be spiritually equipped in the marketplace with business strategies and tools. And if we want to talk about that the next time, we can.
Yes. To be continued.
Yes.
All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed this series of Table Talk with Organix. And my next guest on the 18th will be Mr. Milton. We're gonna have a man this time. And when you talk about love, I have to say he is the man of love, the poet and the songwriter. Oh my gosh, his praise and worship is on point, amazing. I was gonna play a little demo of it today, but I don't think he got it to me in time, but he will be on our show on the 18th. And if any of you are interested, I do have, I think April, May. It may be May before I have an open slot. So every first and third Friday at 8 o'clock, join us here for, it's going to be changed to Talk with OJAy. Okay. We're going to talk about the truth, tried, and tested. All right. Have a great day. Love you all. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe. All right.